Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
We're Neverboard Gaming and we're talking about Haven from Red Raven Games.
So Haven is a two-player head-to-head kind of battle-ish, like card playing and area control-ish. It's a very hodgepodgey, hard to describe, and I almost said asymmetrical. It's not. It looks asymmetrical because you have the nature versus the machines type of thing, but I was looking at the decks and stuff, and I was saying, oh, these decks are pretty much the same. It's just one side is going to be prone to be better at another thing than the other side. Not so much, it's not asymmetric like Netrunner, where we're doing two very different things.
And one of the biggest, I think, asymmetries comes from just how ties are won, because, you're trying to get these tokens on the map, and you're trying to collect these tokens over here. And you're battling over it at the same time. So if we're battling over this leaf token, every token has a number on it that says what you want to try to hit. It's like blackjack. You want to get as close to without busting over. So you want to get 2-7 with this one. And whoever wins the numbers gets this token. And whoever wins the little sword symbols or arrow symbols that are on those cards get to place a token wherever the leafy creature is. He's over here right now. And so you're battling for the area on the map and that token simultaneously.
When he was talking about battling for these tokens, the way you do that is very similar to if you saw our Kickstarter previews for Sorcerer or Omen. There's 3 different things here that you could be fighting over, but you can only place 2 cards a turn, so you want to win all of them, really. You want to focus, so you don't want to just focus all up on this one and then ignore the other ones, or you don't want to spread thin and try to win all of them and then end up winning none of them. So I automatically started liking this game because I really like that mechanic. I liked it in the Call of Cthulhu game a long time ago. I liked it in Sorcerer and Omen, and now this, I'm like, all right, dope. And this one focuses on the complexity of this portion a little bit less because there's also this other secondary thing. The cards are less complex. In both Omen and Sorcerer, the cards would have text and they'd do effects and they'd mess with each other and do a lot of things, and you could add attachments to the cards and stuff like that. In here, the cards are a lot more simple. There is this deck of super power cards that you can draw from to affect them, but that's like a secondary thing. You have to choose if you want to do that. In those other games, that a lot of the cards had that kind of built in.
And if you're choosing to play one of your power cards, you only get to play 2 cards, either power or one of these people to fight over the areas. So you're neglecting to play a card over here to play a power card. Now, a lot of power cards let you either play, there are power cards that play this card lets you play 2 over here. So you're getting to play 3 things, essentially. But some of them don't. Some of them just mess with your opponent, or some of them let you draw more cards. And so there's cards I'm like, this is really good. I really want to do this, but I need to play more cards for this battle. And part of the reason that happens is because the offering cards, you have to play an offering every turn. And because you're playing one every turn, and everything needs 3 offerings on the sides combined for it to play out, if we're battling over the leaf one right now, but we're not ready for it to pop, we're going to be playing our offerings over on the water and on the stone. So eventually, those are going to pop while we're still battling over this. So there are plenty of games where I'm like, okay, I really want to play a card here because I want to win this one. But if I don't play a card over there, I just won't have any cards in that battle when it resolves. So I'm you're forced a little bit to split unless you want to, I'll win this one, but I'm definitely giving up that one. So there's some really interesting decisions to make, even though it is a fairly simple mechanic of battling over here.
Well, there's also a couple there's some of these offerings are when you draw them, you play them immediately. So there's kind of bombs or traps in here that you may not be planning on or expecting. Also, these super special cards are pretty specific. So it'll be double the value of one of the things here, or add +1 weapon to each card. So you may draw it and think, ooh, I'm not set up to utilize this card the best, because your draws are pretty precious. If you're only playing 2, drawing 2, however, you can play cards from the top of your deck. This is your your people, whatever they're called. So you could play this and then I busted. You know, because
Yeah, you can't
choose
pick where it goes after you look at
Yeah,
it.
you just go this location and boom, right? Except this is a 1, so it's a bad example. However, the cards that you play from your hand are face down. So not only is there all this stuff we've been talking about, but there's mind games in there too of, I put this card face down, what is it? I put 3 cards face down, you know.
And there are 0 cards in the deck that do absolutely nothing. So it's like, I've got 5 cards face down here, so he's going, oh man, he has that one locked down. Maybe I should just go over here. And I'm over here going, these are all 0s. And now that's good because the tide originally, before it goes to like the forest wins one and the city wins the other, ties are won by whoever has the most cards there. So while the 0s don't help you get to that number, they do help you win that tie without busting.
The only other thing here that there's like a mini expansion, which are these like ability cards that we've tried to use twice. And the first time we just misunderstood, and the second time it was like halfway through the game. You're supposed to trigger these when certain things happen, and when if you're the one who triggers it, you take it and you get whatever bonuses.
But you don't know
there.
the bonus is until you take it.
The bonuses are random and they're face down. And it was like halfway through, I was like, totally forgot about this. But that's a testament to the fact that this game already has so much meat in it. Every little decision matters. Again, it's just play 2, draw 2. But when I go to draw, I'm like, which deck should I draw from? Because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, this game, this is a really tight game such that every decision really matters. It kind of reminds me of like the Twilight Struggle type of thing, where, you know, you can't just do a thing and you know, maybe I'm setting myself up for something later, or you know, if you ever feel like in a game like a deck building game or worker placement game where you're like, I'll just burn this last card, or my last worker, I'll put him here and get some money. There's no move that you do in here that you aren't feeling like it's affecting the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everything is important.
And especially, like, I had games where I have a hand of cards, and every single spot, I'm within 2 of being at the max. And all the cards in my hand are, like, 3s and 4s. And I'm like, I'm going to lose, and these cards don't work. So I drew improperly, or, like, the way I played my cards out there, I wasn't planning ahead well enough. So that's a testament to what you're saying is I did that wrong, and it really hurt me.
Haven is one of those games where when I sat down, after I figured out how it plays, and it was like the second or third turn, I was like, oh, I like this. This is really good. It's, now, granted, it's just the type of game I tend to really like. I do like 2-player head-to-head battle games a lot. I really like this 3, you know, split your focus amongst 3 different things mechanic. I also like the fact that it adds extra stuff over here. This board isn't a super huge deal. You could not do super well over here and dominate over here and still...
Which is surprising, because looking at it, it looks like, okay, so this is the game, and this is some side stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But it's actually the opposite of that. Like, everything happens here, and this just kind of is affected by how this resolves.
Well, it's another battle to fight. You don't want to give up on this, but if you'd want to focus on this more than this,
but
you could.
Battling here is how you do this, too. So this is just like a track to say, okay, I won this here, I won this there.
Right, I'm saying in terms of points.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to ignore the board, but it's less, like, you don't do much here. This is just where you mark what happens here. So yeah, I like everything that Red Raven puts out, so this is one more, like, slam dunk for me. Like Tom said, it's a really great, just 2-player head-to-head. If you like Sorcerer Omen those, but you want one that's, like, really kind of, it's stripped down of complexity, but not of depth. I'll say that. Then this is one that I would definitely recommend you check out by clicking the purchase link in the description box down below.
While you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Finger guns, boom.